She's been in farming here in Uganda for the last 4 years. When she came here, she discovered that farming is what would transform her life. Today on Daring Abroad, we feature Grace Silvia Mwangi.
What inspired me into agriculture is the fact that most Ugandans were willing to listen to any time when I talk about maize production in Kenya.
Grace Mwangi is a budding entrepreneur. She grew up in Solai, Nakuru County, and later moved to Nakuru town to begin her career as a hairdressing and beauty instructor under the then Ministry of Youth and Sports. However, in 2013, Grace decided to relocate to Kampala and venture into agribusiness.
I decided to cross to Uganda and venture into fertilizer businesses, where I began with distributing a fertilizer called Biodeposit from Latvia.
While there, she began working with the government of Uganda under the Wealth Creation Initiative. This partnership not only resulted in getting market for her fertilizer, but also presented her with a life-changing opportunity which saw her allocated land for farming.
I was introduced to a gentleman who is in charge of Operation Wealth Creation by then, and he got interested in the Kenyan way of producing maize, and more so vegetables and maize, and that's how he brought me on board. First I started with 5 acres. On the upper side I started with vegetables, okra, onions and tomatoes. But having not a good background with vegetables, I found myself coming back to maize. Before here was a complete total bush.
It was a bush?
Total complete bush. I was the first one to start farming on these lower ends, and by then we had a lot of challenges with water. The water table was actually so high.
Apart from this, Grace, who had no prior experience in farming, also faced other challenges.
The challenges in mostly maize production in this area is normally one, the maize prices. They are fluctuating too much, and we are not able to access the Kenyan market formally. This is one of our biggest markets that we like to open formally, and we push our produce to that end. Majorly, Uganda maize production has no much challenge except now the fall armyworm, which is happening almost everywhere.
She, however, did not let this deter her from her newly found passion. This was majorly due to favorable farming conditions in Uganda.
Uganda has very fertile soils. We enjoy 2 seasons per year. The first season starting from 15th February, ending to July 15. And the second season starting immediately 1st August.
In time, her business continued to grow, and Grace increased her farmland from 5 acres to 100 acres. This growth also attracted the attention of locals.
The local people here still inspired me because they really wanted to continue seeing what is maize, what is agriculture, what is this Kenyan really doing around, and they took a lot of interest in it, and they encouraged me to move on because I still saw them adopting what I'm doing. If you look around now, you will see lots and lots of farm already producing this.
The growing interest was not only from Ugandans, but also Kenyans.
Outside legal practice, we normally like to do side business, and this is farming, maize production. And for that reason, we are here to know exactly why she does this best than any other person around this place.
I've been in Uganda for the past 2 years. I had never really thought of being a farmer, but once I saw this, it really inspired me, and I said I would like to walk in her shoes.
This inspired Grace to champion a new project on a 2,000-acre farm in Luwero district, central Uganda, a project that is a collaboration between Kenyans and Ugandans.
This project basically started as an interest of seeing so many Kenyans and so many other Ugandans around me asking me whether they can get land where I'm ploughing on the other side, and as a result the land on the other side was getting smaller and was not possible to accommodate all. So later we established somebody who would make the arrangements for us happen. Who we have is the arranger, and we found ourselves getting a landlord who has a big chunk of this land. It is about 2,000 acres.
We will find out more about the new project right after our Miles Away segment.
On Miles Away, we toured the neighboring country of Uganda. Nicknamed the Pearl of Africa due to its magnificent natural beauty, Uganda has a population of about 41 million people, with half of this population being below the age of 16 years. Its capital is Kampala. The country is currently led by President Yoweri Museveni, who has ruled for 32 years. Uganda is also known for its diverse and unique landscapes that make the country suitable for safari. While in Uganda, one place that is a must visit is Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, famed for its mountain gorilla population and scenery. Another scenic place is the Murchison Falls in Amuru. Similar to Kenya, Uganda's main exports are agricultural products. This includes coffee, tea, maize, cocoa beans, and cotton. And that's Miles Away. My name is Michael Zimanji.
Yes, back to the new agro-revolution project in Kitusa village, Luwero district, central Uganda, a project involving 8 Ugandans and 16 Kenyans. It is a huge project on a 2,000-acre farm, and the champion, the founder of the whole idea is Grace Silvia Mwangi.
We sat as a group and we said, ladies and gentlemen, we have land, can we divide it? And we work on it with better terms with the landlord, whereby we don't have to really use our money to purchase land in Uganda. We can use the amount of capital we have as operational capital, and we divide with the share, with the part of the share of the harvest goes to the landlord. The arrangement in this kind of farming is whereby we are identifying a landlord with big chunk of land, and we are calling it agro-park or agro-revolution, whereby we are changing the older ways of doing agriculture, not the usual way of you must buy land and then you go buy machineries and then you go on with the process. I do my part, you do your part, and then at the end of the season you give the landlord a 10% of whatever you will harvest.
Given that it is a large-scale production, Grace and her partners were forced to change tact when it came to the method of farming.
This project is completely mechanized. We do the first plowing, we do the second plowing, and then we do the harrowing. And then we are using the machinery like planters for planting, from first plowing, second plowing, harrowing, all the way to planting, up to harvesting.
The project has seen her shift focus from producing maize to include other crops like soybeans and pineapples. But are the partners limited to crops only?
We have an area there which is 63 acres. It happened to be a bit wet, and we decided we can come up together, guys. On these 63 acres, we can put goats, some few cows here and there for milk, and more so goats, the Kenyan way of nyama choma.
Grace's dream is to expand her market from just Uganda to Sudan and the entire East African region. A dream that is also meant to benefit the community at large.
We are going all the way to Park 10, and this is just meant to promote food security and inter-regional exchange of what you know, what we don't know. This is absolutely meant to even create promotion and an exchange project of an exchange program whereby the knowledge you have comes to here. We are expecting every person on the land will definitely employ a Kenyan agronomist and a Ugandan agronomist, and the two can practically do proper crop production. That later will create a multiplication effect when the two separate and they go into their different villages.
And jobs like what you are seeing.
And jobs like exactly what we are seeing behind. We have, with 2,000 acres, the potential in this farm is too much.
Grace adds that the government of Uganda has been quite helpful when it comes to supporting these projects.
The support we are getting from the government is that in case we need more land, and wherever we will request for more land, the land will always be availed.
We have been able now to associate with this group so that we enable it to realize the productive potential they have. If the question was land, we've been able to avail land on very, very soft terms so that we see how far you can produce how far you can be able to portray your skills in marketing. And so we should be able to enable you also to get further, better, larger pieces of land.
She also notes that farming in Uganda is quite different when compared to Kenya.
Of Kenya, I would just say it is very rare for us to find such a chunk of land empty and ready to be used. In Uganda, we have not overexploited the land that is still there. Agriculture in Uganda is not as mechanized as back at home in Kenya, and one of the main challenges we're having is machineries. You like to do planting within 2, 3, 4 days and finish up, but the planters, you find there are only 2 or maximum 3. Harrowing is not possible. The demand is too much for this machinery.
From her experience, this is what she has learned over the years.
You cannot manage farm via telephone. You have to practically be here like almost twice a week, once a week, and especially on the active stages days. Other times you can get a very good agronomist, probably an agronomist from Kenya, and probably you match with an agronomist from Uganda, and the two, they co-run for you the project.
And this is her advice for anyone who wants to venture into farming in Uganda on our Diaspora Bite.
I would just call everybody out there. The project is so open. As long as you are ready to share the knowledge you have into farming, first you must be able to run your own project and you have done farming and you have the knowledge of these things. And then you have that open heart of sharing the skill you have to another person and so on and so on.
That was the story of Grace Silvia Mwangi, who's been doing farming in Uganda, and not just any other farming, large-scale farming. Until we meet again next week, bye-bye from Uganda.